Okay, I'm going to show you now how we are going to assemble everything into the box. So we have the box here. We're going to install a solar panel inside the box. Just going to turn over like this. After we trim it to size, the Raspberry Pi is going to fit in one location. The battery, depending on the size and the shape, will be in the box like so. And then finally, there's going to be a connector between the solar panel and the battery, so charging the battery, and a switch that's going to allow us to turn it on and off. So that's what I'm going to do now. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to do to make this fit inside this box and allow the connection for this USB cable is so it doesn't actually stick out of the box. So the cable is like this, and you'll see here that if you're going inside the box, you can have a problem like here that you can't close the box with this length. So we're going to trim it off, and then it'll tape it back and connect it into the power supply. It should be a pretty easy connection. If you happen to be connecting this to the outside of the box for some reason, then you can decide if you want to keep the same length without cutting, and you'll have to add a hole into the box so that it can actually charge the battery. So first things first, let's trim this off. So what you do, in this case we have some protective covering which I'm going to remove. The thing you want to make sure is that you don't cut into the actual solar cells. So we're going to cut it off before the cells, and it should fit in there fine. And what I like to do is just measure right here, right at the same spot where the handle is, and just score a little line there, score a little line here, give or take. And you can kind of break it over like this if you like, and or just cut it with a pair of scissors. So, but the scoring really makes it nice and straight. Makes a nice finished, more or less a nice finished look. You can see here, I didn't get it all the way, so let's just do that. And same thing here, we can just cut that off. Trim that down a little bit. And more or less you have a flat thing. I also like to kind of cut the edges off here in the corners to make it fit in the box better on either end. And you'll see here how that's going to look. More or less when you put it in, it's going to fit in there, and you're going to have plenty of room for the cable to connect here. Okay. So the cable will fit. This will go back. Everything will fit. So that's step one, cutting the panel to shape. And if it fits already, you could just leave it alone. So this is going to go inside the case. We're going to tape this down. It's going to come over here to the battery with our micro USB connection and connect it. So that's kind of the basic principle here. The other part will be the switch, which we're going to actually mount on the outside of the box. It's going to go through the box in two holes, and it's going to go through, and one side will connect to the Raspberry Pi to charge it, and the other side will be connected to the USB port. If I can connect it in here, of course I can. And this would be a USB connector that would connect in here, which, curiously, I don't have the other part of the connector right at this moment. But I have one here. Okay. So if you don't have the right connector, you may need an extra little cable to make it all work. So for instance, like this. So many of these switches come with the right USB, regular standard USB connector that would go to just through the switch, the on-off switch, and then over to here. And in fact, I just actually hit the switch on, and you can see the blue light of the battery turned on and the red light of the Pi. So I actually just turned on our Raspberry Pi. And if I hit this button again, it should turn it off. And in fact, it did. So we know the switch is working. We know the battery actually was charged. And now let's assemble it.